Police say this was a routine call. No danger, no threat. But the body cam recorded something else. Something that should never have been released. Because in less than 60 seconds, one decision changed everything. The report says the officer followed protocol. The video shows someone crossed a line, and what happens next is missing. Exactly 11 seconds. Seconds that decide whether this was justice or a crime. Watch closely, because once you see what the body cam caught, you'll understand why they tried to bury this video. The courtroom was silent, not the peaceful kind of silence, the kind that presses against your chest, the kind that tells you something is about to go wrong. The judge hadn't entered yet. The jury wasn't seated, but everyone already knew this hearing mattered. At the front of the room stood a woman in a pale yellow suit. She wasn't loud. She wasn't angry. She wasn't resisting. Her hands were folded in front of her, and behind her stood the officer. Most people in that courtroom saw a routine scene. A defendant, an officer, another long day inside a justice system that never sleeps. But what they didn't see, what no one noticed yet, was that this officer had already made up his mind, and in less than a minute, he would cross a line that could never be uncrossed. The officer, Officer Daniel Cross, had been on the force for 14 years. 14 years of traffic stops, domestic calls, courtroom duty. He wasn't famous. He wasn't decorated. But he was confident in one thing. He knew how power worked. Daniel believed order came from pressure, from fear, from reminding people where they stood. And today, he believed this woman in front of him needed reminding. The woman, her name was Alicia Monroe, 42 years old, former city employee, no violent record. She wasn't accused of assault, or theft, or anything dramatic. Her charge was simple: failure to comply with a lawful order. That was it. But Alicia wasn't nervous about the charge. She was nervous about something else. She had seen Officer Cross before, and she remembered exactly how he looked at her. Flashback, 2 weeks earlier. It started with a routine traffic stop. Red and blue lights. A quiet street. No weapons. No shouting. Just Alicia sitting in her car, documents ready. Officer Cross approached slow. Too slow. He didn't greet her, didn't explain the stop. Instead, he stared. Then came the questions. Where are you going? Why are you nervous? Who owns this vehicle? Alicia answered calmly. But calm didn't matter. What mattered was that she didn't sound afraid. The body cam from that night shows something important. Not what's said, but how it's said. Officer Cross's voice changes, gets sharper, shorter, because when people don't fear him, he takes it personally. Back to the courtroom. Alicia stood straight. She had been advised by her lawyer not to speak unless asked. So she didn't. But Officer Cross watched her closely. He noticed the way she held her chin up, the way she didn't avoid eye contact. To him, that wasn't confidence. That was disrespect. Courtrooms run on hierarchy. Judges above officers. Officers above defendants. and Officer Cross believed Alicia had forgotten her place. The judge entered. Everyone stood. Everyone except Officer Cross, who was already standing. The judge took his seat and nodded. "Let's proceed." Alicia's lawyer spoke first. He requested clarification on the charge, asked why the original Bodycam footage was incomplete. That question changed everything, because Officer Cross knew something Alicia didn't. The missing seconds, the traffic stop footage wasn't full. 11 seconds were missing, not corrupted, not accidentally deleted, manually removed. And Officer Cross knew exactly when and why. As the lawyer spoke, Officer Cross shifted his weight. His jaw tightened. The courtroom cameras caught it, but no one paid attention. Not yet. The judge asked Officer Cross to step forward. Just a simple request, but Officer Cross hesitated, because stepping forward meant stepping into scrutiny, and scrutiny was dangerous. The moment, as Officer Cross moved, Alicia turned her head slightly, not aggressively, not dramatically, just enough to see him. Their eyes met, and for half a second, the courtroom disappeared. It was just the two of them. The traffic stop, the silence, the unspoken challenge. Officer Cross leaned closer than necessary. Too close. Close enough that Alicia could smell his cologne. Close enough that his shadow fell across her face. And then it happened. A sound echoed through the courtroom. Sharp, dry, a slap. Shock. Gasps filled the room. Someone shouted. The judge slammed the gavel. What just happened? Alicia stumbled back, not because of the force, but because her mind hadn't caught up yet. Her cheek burned. Officer Cross's hand was still raised. For 1 second, no one moved, because no one could believe what they'd just seen. An officer, in a courtroom, striking a defendant. On record, on camera, Officer Cross spoke first. She was being aggressive. The lie came easily, too easily. But the courtroom cameras told a different story. And the body cam, the one he thought no one would see, had already recorded everything. Why this matters. This wasn't about a slap. This was about control. Because when an officer hits someone in court, he's not enforcing law. He's announcing power. And Alicia Monroe wasn't just a defendant. She was something Officer Cross never expected. Something that would unravel everything. But no one knew that yet. Because what happens next, in the next few minutes, would force the system to make a choice. Protect the badge or protect the truth. And that choice would cost people their careers. For the first time that day, Officer Daniel Cross felt something he wasn't used to feeling. Uncertainty. Not fear. Not yet. Just that quiet crack in confidence. The kind that appears when power starts slipping. The courtroom was still buzzing. Whispers. Confusion. Shock. But the judge had regained control. "Officer Cross," he said firmly, "step back now." This time Daniel obeyed. He lowered his hand, but he didn't lower his eyes. The immediate aftermath. Court officers rushed toward Alicia. Someone asked if she needed medical attention. She shook her head, slowly, deliberately, because pain wasn't what scared her. What scared her was how calm Officer Cross looked. The judge called a recess. Courtroom doors opened. People poured out, reporters, clerks, attorneys. Phones were already out. Messages already being typed. Because everyone knew this wasn't staying inside that room. The first lie. In the hallway, Officer Cross spoke to his supervisor. His version was clean, simple. She turned aggressively. She stepped in to me. I reacted. 14 years on the force had taught him one thing. If you say it first, people tend to believe it. But Alicia wasn't speaking. Not yet. And that silence made Daniel nervous. What Daniel didn't know, Alicia Monroe wasn't just any defendant. She used to work for the city, specifically for internal compliance. Her job had been boring. Paperwork, reports, file reviews. But she knew how systems protected themselves. She knew where records disappeared. And she knew one more thing. Bad officers never have clean pasts. The search begins. That same afternoon, Alicia's lawyer made a request. Not emotional, not dramatic, just procedural. Full personnel history of Officer Daniel Cross. Complaints, reviews, bodycam audits, everything. The request should have been routine. Instead, it triggered panic inside the department. When the request hit the department's legal inbox, a junior attorney froze because Officer Cross's file wasn't empty. It was thick, too thick. Complaint number 1. 5 years ago, a man claimed Officer Cross slammed him against a patrol car. No body cam footage. Camera malfunctioned. Case dismissed. Complaint number 2. 3 years ago, a woman accused Cross of verbal intimidation during a traffic stop. She said he leaned in close, whispered threats. Bodycam audio mysteriously missing. Officer cleared. Complaint number 3. 18 months ago, an internal note flagged Cross for excessive proximity and unnecessary physical contact. No formal discipline, just coaching, pattern. But patterns only matter when someone forces you to look. The 11 seconds. Then there was the traffic stop footage. The one involving Alicia. The one missing 11 seconds. A tech analyst reviewed the metadata. And what he found changed everything. The footage wasn't corrupted. It was edited, manually, at 2:14 a.m. from a department terminal, using an authorized login. Officer Cross's login, why the seconds were removed, because in those 11 seconds, Officer Cross said something that couldn't be explained away, something that didn't sound like protocol. Alicia speaks. That night, Alicia finally gave her statement. She didn't raise her voice, didn't exaggerate. She described facts, exact words, exact timing. She even remembered his tone. He told me, she said, you think being calm makes you untouchable. She paused. Then he leaned closer and said, people like you always forget who's in charge. That sentence echoed, because it didn't belong to a single incident. It belonged to a mindset. The department's dilemma. Now the department faced a choice. Suspend Officer Cross and admit failure, or protect him and risk exposure. Because if this went public, people would start asking questions, not just about Daniel Cross, but about how many times the system looked away. The order comes down. By morning, the decision was made. Officer Cross was placed on paid administrative leave. No charges, no arrest, just distance. Daniel was furious, not scared, furious, because to him this wasn't justice. It was betrayal. His mistake. Daniel believed the department would shield him, that history would stay buried, that Alicia Monroe would back down. He underestimated her, and worse, he underestimated what she already had. The evidence no one expected. That night, Alicia received an email from an unknown address. No name, no message. Just one attachment, a video file, time-stamped, unedited, the missing 11 seconds. The courtroom was silent. Not the normal kind of silence. This was different, the kind where even breathing feels loud. The officer stood in the witness box, arms crossed, jaw tight. He had already said it twice. I followed protocol. The prosecutor didn't argue, didn't raise his voice. He just nodded and said one sentence. Let's watch the footage again. The screen turned on. This time, frame by frame, second by second. The first few seconds matched the report perfectly. The call, the approach, the commands, everything looked clean. But then the prosecutor paused the video, zoomed in. Right there, the officer's hand, not on his radio, not signaling backup. His hand was already moving before the suspect did anything. The courtroom shifted. Someone in the audience whispered, "That's not protocol." The officer's lawyer stood up immediately. Objection, speculation. The judge raised a hand. Denied. Let the jury see. The video continued. And that's when it happened. The 11 missing seconds. The screen went black. No glitch warning. No timestamp error. Just nothing. 11 seconds gone. When the video resumed, everything had changed. The suspect was on the ground. The officer's weapon was drawn. And the narrative was already written. The prosecutor turned to the jury. These 11 seconds, he said quietly, are the difference between self-defense and excessive force. Then he turned back to the officer and asked the question no one expected. Why did your body cam stop recording at the exact moment your hand moved? The officer didn't answer. Not immediately. For the first time since the trial began, he looked unsure. And that hesitation, that was enough. Because what happened next didn't come from the video. It came from someone who was never supposed to speak. The truth they couldn't erase. The courtroom doors opened slowly. Everyone turned. A man walked in. No uniform, no badge, no title, just a technician. The same technician who had been assigned to inspect the body cam the night of the incident. He hadn't spoken until now. Not because he didn't want to, because no one ever asked him to. The judge looked confused. The prosecutor didn't smile. He already knew. The technician raised his hand and was sworn in. Then he said something that froze the room. The body cam didn't malfunction. The officer's lawyer stood up instantly. Objection. But the technician continued. It was manually paused. Gasps filled the courtroom. The jury leaned forward. The technician explained calmly. This model records continuously. It only stops if the wearer presses the side control or removes the battery. He looked directly at the officer, and the battery was full. Silence. The prosecutor stepped closer. So those 11 seconds? The technician nodded. Were intentionally removed. The officer's face drained of color. For the first time, he spoke without confidence. I don't remember touching it. The prosecutor didn't respond. He just played one final clip. A still image, zoomed in. The officer's thumb pressing the pause button. Time-stamped, undeniable. The judge didn't wait. The gavel came down hard. The courtroom erupted. The report was no longer evidence. The video wasn't buried anymore, and the truth couldn't be edited. Outside the courthouse, reporters asked one question. Was this justice? The prosecutor answered quietly. This wasn't about one officer. It was about what happens when the record doesn't match the reality. The family never got those 11 seconds back, but they got something else. Proof. And sometimes that's the most dangerous thing of all, because cameras don't lie, people do.